because when I was in that pit of despair, it became very apparent that I was not tolerating 2 max effort lower sessions per week very well at all. But the last 2 training sessions, like the Saturday squat day, the squat was not very good, but it was a very hard squat, and Sunday I felt great. Monday, the bench was really freaking big, all-time PR on that floor press variation. Tuesday morning, I felt freaking great. Today, I feel even better than I did yesterday, which has me thinking, like, maybe all it was is that I just needed to pull food back so I could actually digest and sleep, and I'll be able to tolerate those 2 max effort sessions today. So I do have a plan laid out for today's deadlifts that will be very conservative, but I'm unsure on whether or not I should be sticking to that plan. I also have a plan for speed squats that should help me out the squats, so let's get rolling and see how that plan works. First part of that plan, no sleeves, straight bar, chains. Second part of that plan, I'll let you guys guess based on how this set looks. My dad's calling me. Maybe I should answer that.
Might be important.
Hey, what's up? In the middle of the speed squats. Darrell's gonna yell at me because I'm taking too much rest. If my dad calls me and it goes through silent mode, I'm like, maybe I should pick up. Went well though, aside from the impromptu Ted phone call. Pretty freaking happy with how those went. And the other thing that was changing for today's speed squats, I guess it wasn't really a change with the speed squats, more a change in my movement prep, because what I was noticing on Saturday is that I looked really like scrunched under the squat bar, so I cranked the shit out of my upper back mobility prep so I could get a little bit more thoracic extension. The other thing I did is I noticed I wasn't getting in my knees quite well enough, so I did a shit ton of hip prep and my knees were able to track more straight ahead and I was able to load into them harder. And the fact that I was able to load into them harder without the sleeves on, pretty damn stoked. And I am out of breath right now, but 0 back pumps, so I don't know if we are going to be sticking to that conservative plan on pulls, but we will find out. And in that conservative deadlift plan that I laid out into the meet, set it up with 3-week undulating linear waves. And in order to get that to line up for the peak in the meet, today technically should be the single at the end of a wave. So what I gave myself for today in that very conservative plan is a 645, 665 load cap on a single. But again, if we're feeling really saucy, we may not stick to that. Like, I probably will err on the side of being smarter, but if it feels insane, we might send it. Two plates feels like 2 plates, so I can't make too much judgment off of that. And 3 is still going to be too late to know, but we're still going to do our best to smack it. Stay. Come on. Fuck. And what I was concerned about last week when I shut down the pulls early is that normally when I just wedge in with like sub 4 plates, the deadlift kind of just happens without needing to actually try to deadlift. And it is happening without actually needing to try to deadlift today, so yeah. But I mean, that was only 3 plates, so not gonna get too excited until after this one. We'll see if that keeps happening at 5 reds. And at minimum right now, I want to aim for the top end of my conservative loading range today. And if I want to do that, we need to absolutely smack the shit out of this. So let's make sure we absolutely smack the shit out of this. Certified smack, so 665 next. And thinking about how that one felt and then watch the tape back, see how that one looked, I think that being a little bit lighter, having more waist space, I could afford to snuggle in a little bit closer to the bar. So we're going to try that on 665 and see if that helps us smack it better. So we'll get some fun music on, get a little bit of hype going. And I think the difference between hype going into this set versus the squats is on the squat, I was kind of trying to get hype because I was afraid of it. Whereas this, I'm getting hype because I want to have fun. A little bit pissed about that move, but I wanted to move really fucking well, but it moved well, so I think we'll leave that there for today and be smart. And I mean, I'm okay with that. Like, definitely could pull over 7 if I had to, but the thing is that I don't have to right now. And with how I have been feeling, with that not being like freaking perfect, I would rather err on the side of caution, as lame as that is, because what matters is what I pull on meet day, not what I pull in the gym. So I think what I will do moving forward is I probably will stick to the conservative end of the loading plan that I made for the next 2 weeks at least. On the third week, if I feel phenomenal, I might give myself an option to send it, but if I don't feel phenomenal, we'll just keep letting the waves build, and we should be in a good spot, especially if we crank on our accessories. And for that, once again, we're starting out with stiff legs, and I am very much hoping that Free Reds moves better than it did last week. Yeah, we're definitely better than last week. We will go up. And I have been keeping these pretty light and snappy due to me feeling like a bag of smashed assholes, but I do need to start getting them to be heavier through the prep. We're just gonna ease in a little bit into that more heavier-ness. With that in mind, this will likely end up being work sets, unless it feels exceptionally saucy. I'm okay with that. And this is the most I put on a stiff leg by a very large margin since I had that hammy pop a month-ish ago. So hopefully we don't pop a hammy again. I'm very okay with that. I think the coolest part about pulling food back is that with feeling this good, I'm getting less and less afraid to work hard, which is going to be very necessary for having a good rest of this meet prep. And the reason I freaking love stiff legs for my deadlift is that when I miss a deadlift, it's because I get stuck with my chest up too early and then I'm way behind the bar at mid-range and my leverages get absolutely screwed to drive to lockout. But because of the stiff leg, I'm starting so far ahead of the bar, I end up in about the perfect spot at mid-range. So I'm just reinforcing the lockout pattern that I want over and over again. And with those out of the way, time to jam on an accessory that I have not done for a very long time, because I have been a pansy, which is going to be a kind of sloppy barbell row. This is very, very, very light compared to what I've run on here in the past. So I'm hoping that with being a pansy over the last little while, it isn't too heavy. I think we can go at least 315. So we better not embarrass ourselves too much here. I think I'm okay with that. And I'm very aware that this is a pretty shitty executed row if my goal was to train my lats. But the thing is, I'm trying to get erectors and hips out of it. Because when I drop into the bottom hard and catch with my back and hips, it carries over super well to my ability to catch myself in the bottom of a squat. But for that intent, definitely did do the job very well because erectors and hips are feeling it. The good news though is that they're not feeling it so bad that I cannot walk. So we're gonna walk the other side of the gym and do something that it will be a little bit adventurous as well. Because my knees haven't been super stoked as of late. Like, they're not painful, they're just hella stiff, which is part of why I've been struggling to really get into them well enough on squats. And what I'm thinking has been contributing to that is that super freaking nasty Panada leg press that I have been running. I think it is just too aggressive for what my knees are ready for right now. And last week I ran the HG split squats in the leg press slot just to give me something more friendly. But with having more energy, I've been doing way more HG splits at home, so I think doing another slot would be redundant. So we're gonna give this swingy press a shot because it does feel a lot more like a deadlift and the strength curve is very, very friendly. So let's give her a decent little crank. Gotta get my feet way lower. Very knee friendly, very quad juicy. I was running this a ton through the diet before they got fancier leg machines in, and I think that the classic might be the better option for me. We'll have to put a few more plates on though, because this is quite light. Yeah, let's load her up if I can get out. Oop. Need more weight to help with the dismount. Got 4 plates to side on now, which isn't very heavy, but want to make sure that it still stays feeling pretty knee friendly. So let's slither our way into position. Hey, Mia, can you strip a plate off? Probably too heavy for the desired intent, which is kind of embarrassing. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I probably could have gotten up and changed it myself, but it felt more convenient with her being right here. Thank you. Should have slid the seat back while I was standing up, but this works. Get the feet a little lower. This will be perfect for what I need right now. Because quads are working pretty darn hard without any shitty stiff feel, so we'll do another set here. I help them load their leg press between sets, so I'm not that much of an asshole, I guess. I'm really hoping that is the seat sweet spot where it's easy to get in, but not too little range of motion. I think we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. I do wish the seat was like angled back more because I probably could get a bit deeper if it was, but this is workable. And that is good enough because in this slot, like, it doesn't need to be super hard. It just needs to be hard on my quads. The super hard squat is reserved for Saturday, so we'll crank hard on this on Saturday. For today, I'm good leaving with the quads feeling juicy, knees feeling fresh. And you may have noticed that I have not run the back extension yet today. And the reason that is pushing the back extension and the reverse hyper in the same week. Like, they're a little bit redundant because they're pretty much the same exercise, just one is one direction, one is the other direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my hard hamstring slot over on this day, drop the back extension out, and then drop the hard hamstrings out of Saturday. And I think that should help with the overall fatigue picture. And because we ran this on Saturday, starting pretty darn high, and I'm not sure if I am going to drop it. Yeah, we're definitely not dropping it because that was shitty. Probably going to raise it up so we can have a little bit more hip extension on set 2. Because I am cheating these pretty hard right now. Yeah, we're raising her up. With it being higher, setup is definitely a good chunk easier, but I'm going to try to make it harder on me by reaching the hips long and trying to get as high up the pad as I can, which feels terrible, FYI. So terrible. Cut myself a little bit slack because we did run it on Saturday, but we definitely need to make that more better. And Travis is here, so I got to ask him the really important question. Joel versus Cole, who had the better glutes?
The better glutes?
Just the butt cheeks.
Like Cole's were good.
Yeah?
They were dug out. Yeah.
Joel's were lacking a little bit? Is that what
They
you're
were
saying?
lacking, but if I had to like pick one just on glutes, it would be Cole.
Guess we got the good ass genetics in the family.
I gotta give Cole a sub though. The Joel one.
And for today's ab slot, we are bringing back the classic with some standing abs. The reason I'm doing this is kind of twofold. The first part being that I want something that can push my abs hard, that isn't a super gnarly movement for the sake of not feeling like I'm going to die tomorrow morning. The other thing is with all of the back pump suffering I've been doing the last couple of weeks, like back pumps today, zero issue at all, didn't creep in, but I still do feel like I'm jammed into a little bit of lumbar extension. So running this over the GHR sit-ups is a little bit easier to pull my way into lumbar flexion, and I'm hoping that kind of gets things moving the way that they should. Feels very crampy, which is probably a good thing. We'll go up a little bit for set 2. So hopefully I can actually curl myself down here because we were a little bit aggressive. This will suck, but it'll work. Definitely worked. And I'm not super thrilled with how that 665 moved, but what I gotta remember is that 665 moving that well when I am still kind of getting my way out of the pit of despair that I have been throwing myself in, I gotta be pretty okay with that. And 665 at 11 and a half weeks out, I can be very, very, very okay with that pull. And I know that I didn't get weaker from that deficit I did a few weeks ago. I didn't get weaker from that block pull I did a few weeks ago. It was just that deficit and that block pull, both being PRs, were a little bit too big for what my recovery was capable of at the moment. And with how I have been feeling the last few days with the food pullback, I'm getting very optimistic that I'm going to be able to start recovering like I should be. And I guess tomorrow morning when I wake up, that will tell us whether or not I did make any mistakes today. But I'm stoked because even if the pull wasn't fantastic, I think across the board on everything, this is probably the best that I've been able to push a Wednesday in a very long time. So we will be keeping the food a little bit lower for the next while. Probably won't be ramping it up again. I think I'd even be okay with a little bit less food, but I'll see where body weight goes because I did drop 2 pounds this week. So that will be determined because I don't want to, start cutting before the meet, but we'll have to see how she goes. And I don't know. I am just rambling at this point, but I guess the point that I need to make is not every training session needs to be good. Not every week needs to be perfect. It just needs to be enough to move you forward. And if you are kind of in a spot like I was where things clearly weren't working, you probably are just doing something that is a little bit too much for your recovery demands, or you're doing something to yourself that's making you recover worse than you should be. And for me, it was a bit of both because I was probably cooking training a little bit too hard out of desperation for trying to get numbers back. And with where the food was, my body wasn't operating the way that it needed to because I think I was just bogged down trying to digest. And like I was saying, the sleep wasn't all that great. So sleeping better, digesting better, not feeling full and bloated and lethargic all damn day long. Hopefully we continue riding the ship. So this should be the start of some much more fun vlogs coming up, hopefully. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out. Have a good rest of your night, and I will see ya in the team.